Hi everyone, and welcome to a weird impromptu precursor to a future show here from Fuzz. I think we'll be on the TV channel to tie it into all the TV shows that are related to comic books, but DC Comics are of course doing this big DC Rebirth thing that's hitting at the end of May with an 80-page special, and then they're going to new number ones for most of their books, and it's kind of a big apology for New 52, and we'll get into it, and they had this big event today, a live stream, we all watched it, and we're going to talk about it. Now, we're going to have a DC Comics podcast come the end of May to sync up with this. We don't know what it's called yet, we don't really have the show yet, but this was such a big deal today that we wanted to talk about it. So, we are the DC fans here from Fuzz, barring one person who's at a wedding and can't make it, but I'm Peter, of course, I'm joined with Matt.
Hey, what's up?
And we've got Connor.
Hey, Ron.
We're all DC fans first. We all grew up with DC. We all had our hearts broken a couple of days ago because Batman v Superman came out and killed all our moods. But luckily, DC Rebirth was here to try and pick our spirits back up. Or at least we hoped it would. And I think as we talk over the next hour, or however long this takes, that we'll find that it did for the most part.
But I was getting fearful beforehand because I've been hopeful for this for a while, this event that we knew was coming. And then Batman v Superman happened, and I was just disheartened.
It's almost as if they knew.
Yeah.
And then before this event, I was like, I'm really worried. What if this is the second thing in a row this weekend that makes me sad for DC?
I think just for perspective here, if this is the first thing, and we'll kind of redo this actually when we do the first episode of the podcast proper for people who probably just tune in for that, if they've not seen this or heard this, but we're all DC fans, but since the New 52 started, we've all slowly dropped more and more books to the point where our pull list from DC is silly low. You know?
New 52 came out, and I tried everything. And slowly whittled it down.
Yeah, I think when New 52 started, that first month, I think I read like 39 books out of the 52.
Yeah. At that point, you might as well have done all 52.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, it didn't matter. I wasn't going to try.
Well, yeah, I wasn't trying the dark and the whatever else.
Oh, you missed out. The Justice League Dark stuff.
Oh, yeah, I tried some of the dark.
Was really good.
That was fine, but I wasn't trying the rest of it.
It was the Edge one that I kind of...
Edge.
Yeah, the Edge stuff, yeah.
Demon Knights and Justice League Dark were both fantastic for most of the runs.
And
Ant-Man
Thing and Animal Man.
I said Ant-Man, Animal Man. Yeah. That's the first mistake in this.
But yeah, now as it goes and goes and goes, like there was 9 Batman books when New 52 launched, and I read all of them and slowly whittled those down to basically Grayson and Batman now.
Oh, I would disagree with you saying there's 9 because to me a Batman book's a Batman, not Bat Family, if you know what I mean.
But still, that was the...
There was still at least 3 or 4.
There was 4.
At least 4.
Yeah. There was exactly 4. I remember what they were. There were Batman Detective, Batman and Robin, which were all great to good to mediocre, not necessarily in that order. And then there's the Dark Knight from Finch, and it was like the most awful thing I'd ever read in my life.
So I quite that far.
It was terrible. What are you talking about? That got dropped quicker than... I don't have a metaphor for you, but it got
quicker
dropped.
Than my hopes for Batman v Superman being good.
Dear. Anyway, so to put in perspective, we've all been kind of disheartened when it comes to DC Comics because right now, other than some minis, because I've actually got a couple of good minis right now with Lois and Clark and American Alien, but in terms of regular books, I am literally just reading Batman, which I've not been very happy with this arc, for the most part, and Justice League. And that's
I'm a little bit more than that. I got those, a couple of the more fringe books like Starfire. It's been pretty fun. Green Arrow,
Yeah,
but it's not a lot.
I could probably still count all the books I'm reading from DC on my fingers.
Funnily enough, I think I'm reading more than you guys are between I have 4 Superman books.
Oh, yeah.
Not counting the minis.
As it is.
I would not count the minis. Yeah.
No, all right. Well then 2 because I have Action Superman, Batman, Green Arrow. Shoot, Justice League. So maybe it is, but
yeah. Well, I mean, if you count the minis, I'm reading maybe 5 books, 6 books from DC right now, but it's disheartening because we're all big fans. We want to be reading all these, and there's weird things like it's weird that there's not a Supergirl book right now. The show is doing so well and
Yep.
you know, there's a digital first, and I am reading that actually. I'm a little bit behind, but it's
pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah,
But those digital first, they almost treat like B level
yeah,
type books. So, and that's sad because I also hear good things about the Wonder Woman one.
yeah, it's good.
Legend of Wonder Woman is fantastic.
And
Yeah.
Bombshells is another one I've heard good things about.
It's Bombshells is shockingly good for what it is, which is just a cash grab on the brand.
Right.
So, you know, and Injustice was a big hit, and I didn't really read it, but people really liked that, the ones who did, you know, as an alternate universe thing in it.
Yeah.
So I guess to sum up that last 30 seconds, the digital first stuff's worth checking out on the occasion.
Yeah.
But it's you know, so the point is though is we were all kind of a sad place with DC in terms of the comics. It felt like a lot of things that we didn't like at first when New 52 just kind of got worse. You know, I still miss, you know, Clark's parents. I miss him and Lois not even being married, just having a relationship.
Yep.
They rarely interact. It feels.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you let Scott Liddell write 2 years of Superman,
God.
and he doesn't understand the relationship. So
Yeah. I think that was my biggest fear going into it. I was like, well, I know Liddell's going to have at least a book because he is going to have one, and I was like, all right, he's going to have one.
Well, and it's you know, tangential at best.
We'll get to that when we get to it.
My fear was though is like, how many are they going to give him? And if they're giving him like 3 or more, it's a sign that nothing's changed.
Hey, Finch isn't writing anything, so that is a win right away.
Yeah.
So let's get into today. So that was just to put you in perspective of where we all were in terms of the current DC landscape. You know, a big Flash fan. I really like Green Lantern, and I've not been reading either of those for a long time because
no, me neither.
I don't like the current team. Obviously, Flash was good when Manipul and
Buccellato,
thank you. I didn't know how to pronounce his name. I was.
Yeah, I got you. It's Brian. Well, I just call him Booch for short. That's how he signs everything.
Really? Okay, I'll just call him Butch then. That's easy.
Butch, yeah.
But so you know, like, so there's things like that. So in terms of what I was hoping for today, I was hoping for wanting to read Flash again, wanting to read Green Lantern, an interesting, a new Superman team.
Just a new status quo for Superman in general. I think
the biggest problem.
Even at the minute, the teams on Superman themselves aren't bad. Like we had Pac on Action Comics.
Pac and Cooter is 80% a great run.
Yeah,
everything that's not a crossover.
Yeah,
exactly.
Every time I get affected by another book, I didn't like it, but when it was just them doing their own thing, like the Horrorville stuff in Smallville, the stuff before the Doomsday crossover,
the ancient.
I think that their first issue,
the beings underground,
their very first issue where he's against the Storm.
Yeah,
I love that issue.
Yeah, Action 25.
So there's been good stuff sprinkled throughout, but we had hopes that, you know, a lot of stuff would be, you know, I wanted a new Supergirl, but I wanted to like Batgirl again. I didn't like the current Batgirl direction. I have no problem with a younger, more girly Batgirl. I actually like my favorite Batgirl runs Stephanie Brown, and that's you know, that's
it's a teen drama.
It's teen. It's Buffy as Batgirl is essentially how I describe it, and so I'm cool with that. But it was just too like let's not get into it.
Hipster is the word.
Hipster, yes, okay.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's funny when they announced the new Batgirl, they said that they're taking her out of that area, Burnside, of Gotham, and it actually got some cheers from the live crowd.
Yeah, that was funny. So let's get into it. So they started off, Didio came out, Johns came out, and Jim Lee came out. Not in that order, but and they had a little opening statement. The highlight of which I think was Didio admitting, you know, in the most sort of public relations friendly way possible, that you know, we may have lost our way. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it kind of felt like, sorry guys, we fucked up.
And I thought Didio was kind of awkward this entire event. Like he kept having these awkward laughs. Where
because the New 52 was his idea. That was his baby.
Yeah, and everyone kept cracking jokes at him. Like, I can't remember even who it was. I think it was the guy writing Cyborg. He said, "Oh, it's, you know, I came from an animated TV show background. You know, I did Static Shock and Spider-Man back in the 90s, I think it was.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, but I'm getting like a lesson in comics from everyone. Like all this great talent on this stage, except Dan Didio."
And Dan,
and it was just really funny.
There was a lot of jokes at his expense.
Yeah, there was.
I feel bad for him. He's the easy target.
And even when they brought up Nightwing, like Johns immediately looked over at Didio and said we'd fight about the red or blue,
Well, it wasn't just that. Didio wanted Nightwing to die in Infinite Crisis, and John's like, well, I don't know if that fits because he's kind of is the heart of DC, so he switched to Superboy instead, and
he's also, I mean, he's a long time legacy character, but he's also more specifically, he's the heart of the Bat universe.
Well, it's not just that; he's the heart of that DC universe because he has ties to everybody.
Yeah, Titans and
Titans and Superman, and he
connects everything.
Yeah, and so he's that. So killing him, an emotional thing. That's what Didio wanted, but John's story-wise and what stories they can tell afterwards.
Even forgetting story, this whole event they've been talking about getting back to the legacy, and I think Nightwing is the epitome of legacy because he has grown.
Do you know, that was the first hint, because even before they started bringing out people and talking about the books, I think John's just flat out said Nightwing's blue again, and that was the first sign. That was the first wait a minute, they're actually. It seems like they're doing the right thing here.
There were some woos from the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd loved that, and then we were sort of chatting as it was happening, and we were all going apeshit and being like, "Fuck yes, Nightwing and blue, excellent." Now, not that instantly makes it a better story, but
it feels more home.
Yeah,
it's just a sign that they're actually listening to the responses, and that they're actually going back to a direction of when it was like that.
So let's get into they did this in sort of sections. They brought out the Bat teams, as it were.
Yep.
So first up, we've got Tom King writing Batman, unfortunately with art by David Finch.
But fortunately, art on the second issue monthly by Michael Janin.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that all these double shipping, they've all got two artists because they have to.
Or more for some of them.
Or more, but at least two because they have to alternate or whatever.
Which is smart though, because that's how you're going to keep it up. It's almost like the artist is still just doing one issue a month.
Which is why when we get to Wonder Woman, that the tactic for that works so well, because it makes sense that one artist would be doing the one and one artist would be doing the other. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So Batman, Tom King, he's been co-writing Grayson.
Yes.
And he's been what else has he been writing? He's been doing something else.
That's basically been it. I think he's got some stuff over at Marvel.
I think he's been running Batman and Robin Eternal.
Yeah. Was it not him doing Vision over at Marvel as well?
Yeah. And he also has Sheriff of Babylon, which the first issue was really good, at Vertigo, which funnily that played off of his time in the CIA, which he brought up on stage, which I thought was pretty funny. And he seemed nervous, and I liked that because he seems like 2 years ago he was a guy plucked from obscurity.
Yeah, honestly, they all kind of seemed nervous that they were worried about the reactions. That even though they were doing the right things, they were worried that this could be taken badly.
Yeah, well, I like that he's kind of up and coming, and this is his chance at the big table. Like he was given Grayson, which is a sort of smaller book, and I never kept up with it past a certain point. And it was honestly, let's be honest, it was Convergence that killed. I was reading a lot more books before Convergence, and then Convergence happened, and I didn't come back.
That one, Grayson was left alone basically from Convergence, so he's still doing the spy stuff.
I skipped the Robin War crossover issues.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been pretty great and consistent.
But honestly, no, I think he's a solid choice for Batman. He's not necessarily the dream, like, oh my god, they've got this person on Batman, but he's a solid. Like, it's good.
Yeah. I want to see what he does, because he does subterfuge with the spy stuff well. I want to see how he tackles that with crime.
He spoke about playing in that CIA experience into detective stuff, which should be really interesting.
This is pretty cool. But I like that he's not completely in the spy genre, because I'm not a big spy genre fan. When it comes to movies and stuff, I'm not a James Bond fan. I'm not. So I like the idea that he can use some of that, but in more of a Batman setting, where it's the surveillance ideas and the gallery of intelligence. Like, he can use that expertise, but it's not secret agents and all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Detective Comics next, of course. We have James Tynion the Fourth. Very few people these days have a fourth after the
he's one of them now.
Yeah, he's really good for it. I'm not super pumped about him as the writer. I don't think he's terrible, but I feel like whenever I see him writing stuff before, it tends to be like the backups on Batman or stuff that he's working with Snyder, and
He's been hit or miss on his solo stuff.
Yeah, been hit or miss.
Talon was not good.
That said, though, I actually I was really excited once they showed the cover for this and they explained what this book was. I love the concept, so I hope that he nails this, because this is basically Batman and Batwoman, which is cool. First of all, running a Bat boot camp where they're training Spoiler, who is Stephanie Brown, in a more her purple from the Batgirl outfit was sort of incorporated into the Spoiler outfit. Really cool. Tim Drake is Robin.
My favourite Robin as well.
Yeah. Cassandra Cain as in her new persona. We don't know what that is yet, but fine. We can't have two Batgirls, I suppose. So yeah.
No, but they can come up with a cool name for her.
Yeah.
She's a flipping ninja.
Bat ninja. Whatever.
I forget what she was going by. I forget what she was going by when Stephanie Brown took.
It was the Bat, I believe.
Was it the Bat?
Yeah.
They can be more creative.
Yeah.
The Black Bat.
Yeah, because that sounds like you just thought about Batman if you say the Bat, but and oddly Clayface. That's the one that sticks out. It's been weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. But
I haven't got the image there now. But when I watched it, I could be misremembering. But Tim Drake's Robin, did the Robin badge have 2 R's like he was still Red Robin?
I don't know. I'm looking up
remember.
that. I'm looking up that right now.
Yeah, you get the images up. And you can fill us in. But I love this concept. I love that it's them training the young people, and I love that it's Stephanie Brown. I'm so happy she's back. So I hope this hits. This is a very fun concept, and I like that Detective Comics is a team book. So remember, this won't be issue 1. This will be issue 930 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're treating Detective Comics and Action Comics as the the flagships of both characters.
Yeah, it's like the families and those, and then the Batman or Superman proper. Or
for me, it's just exciting because I feel like Tim Drake was the biggest casualty of the New 52.
I wouldn't say biggest, but
no,
he was up there.
That's the thing. There were other casualties that just weren't there, but he was ruined. They didn't know what to do with him. They gave all of his properties to Dick, and then they threw him to Batman Beyond. They just had no idea what to do.
No, I agree. I would still say that Clark was worse off.
But there's an easy
redeeming
fix.
things about Clark.
Yeah, there's an easy fix, but I mean, we could sit and argue about what they fucked up more. Let's be honest, we're just upset they fucked up anything in the first place.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I love Stephanie Brown, so I am really happy that she's...
Update on that art is that, yes, it did have the double R. So who knows if he's still Red Robin.
So he's still Red Robin, but he's in his classic Robin outfit. Otherwise, so... I mean, is it a big deal that he's called Red Robin and not Robin?
No, it's because Damien's still running around, going to be using it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's fine. But whether or not they're going to retcon or re-retcon, because they retconned it and said he was always just Red Robin, he was never just Robin. So I don't know if they're going to undo that retcon and say that he was Robin first, or...
Do you know what? That's not even a retcon I even care that much about.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal.
As long as they get the character right, I don't care.
Alright, so next up we had Batgirl, written by Hope Larson, and this is interesting for art by Raphael Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for this, and they were saying that the premise for this is basically that she's out of Burnside and she's backpacking across Asia, so it's Batgirl on a trip, and I don't know what Hope Larson's written before. This is,
I've heard good things from in general, but I can't think of the specific posts. But I've heard good things.
But I no pun intended, but I am very hopeful for this.
Yes,
because I love Babs, I love Batgirl, and art by Albuquerque, fucking fantastic.
Yep. Well, that makes up for him pulling his cover, that controversial cover.
Oh yeah,
of the Joker.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, to me, I hope this is like Batgirl meets Iron Fist with the mysticism and her finding herself. So
I mean, they're keeping her in the sort of the newer outfit she had, which I don't mind
it's
per se.
Good design.
Yeah,
I like its simplicity.
Yeah. Okay. So Batgirl seems fine. In fact, I'm actually really impressed with the fact they get Albuquerque on that. That's a big name to put on that.
Yeah.
Batgirl and the Birds of Prey was the next book, which was written by Julie Benson and Shauna Benson. I didn't even realise they were related. I missed their names when they came out.
Yeah, me too.
Interestingly, though, not Gail Simone.
We were all thinking it would be. Yeah. and art by Claire Rowe. And this is they're writers who I don't think have done comics before, because they're writers on the 100.
Yeah, the CW show.
Which, I mean, that show doesn't appeal to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad writers. But I like the sound of this. So it's Batgirl, Black Canary, who has been redesigned to look more like Black Canary, and Huntress looks more like Huntress. And the premise of this actually sounds really cool as well. It's someone is Oracle. Someone is pretending to be Oracle, and the three of them are trying to find out who it is because they're not happy, especially Babs, for obvious reasons.
Yep.
So I like that plays into it, that the history of Oracle is a big part of this. So no, cool. That's another one. I mean, again, I have no barometer for the writers, but you know,
the concept sounds good.
They've not written something bad before, so I have no reason to necessarily be worried. Something I'm looking forward to checking out.
Yeah, and funnily enough, they're going to use Huntress's mob connections because there's a new mob boss coming up through Gotham.
Is it the Huntress? Is it what's her name from Grayson?
They haven't said if it's Bertinelli or not. So
yeah, I didn't see. I missed the artwork for that bit and didn't see whether it.
I mean, it looks like traditional Huntress.
Yeah.
So,
maybe not then.
But because she's got like the cross thing going on the costume. Yeah. So it could be her. She looks very in the Yannick Paquette design work. It looks like her, but who knows if they're gonna go through with that.
Right, so that was all the main Bat books, and then they cracked a joke about the elephant in the room. It's like, where's Scott Snyder? Is he involved? He comes out with John Romita Jr., who not a big fan. I like his layouts, but I'm not a big fan of his actual art. But it's worth mentioning this will not just be him doing the art. There's also going to be Sean Murphy and Jock. Like, you know,
the one that excited me a lot was Tula Lotte, who's fantastic.
Who is that? I don't even know.
She does a lot of small stuff. She did an issue, the biggest thing recently, was she did one of the issues of Wicked and Divine, and it's fantastic. She runs, the Thought Bubble convention over here in Leeds. She runs that and puts it on, and it's her thing, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So she's British, I take it then?
Yeah.
Okay. But, so he comes out and he's doing a book called All-Star Batman, and, right away it's like, okay, you think of All-Star Superman, which was really well received, and then All-Star Batman and Robin, which was not. And that's kind of the only All-Star at this point, is those two. And
Jim Lee cracked the inevitable joke of, that's his not finishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so All-Star Batman, once they actually explained what it was, though, I'm actually pretty pumped for this, because it sounds like Scott Snyder just wants to do a bunch of stories with villains that he didn't get a chance to use, in continuity, but not necessarily what's driving the entire Bat universe forward.
Yep.
So he mentioned Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, Catwoman, a few others. And
there was a cover with the villains that I think was Jock.
Yeah,
beautiful. That was fantastic.
And he said that he's going to try and make Two-Face as scary as the Joker, which is cool. I like that idea.
I love that.
And he also said that it's going to be him and like Two-Face on a road trip.
Which so I've talked about this with you guys before. When I met him last year, I brought him the Black Mirror to sign, and I told him it's one of my favorite Batman stories. And he goes, "Well, you want to know what I had planned next?" And of course I said, yeah. And he got excited that he got to talk about this. And it was going to be Dick as Batman going on a road trip, delivering a high impact prisoner across the country. And it was going to stop off, each issue was going to be like a different stop off. It was going to deal with him dealing with this prisoner, who I'm guessing now, because in this story it's going to be Two-Face.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, basically... It's Bruce now instead of Dick, and him going with Harvey and Two-Face.
I'm a little bit sad it's not Dick, because Dick and Two-Face have that history.
Yeah.
That would have made it really awesome.
Yeah.
But that sounds really cool, and as much as I've been a bit down on this last arc from his Batman run proper, it's all of that stuff I didn't like was basically all the stuff that he'd replaced Batman with, which was the Gordon and the robot suit and everything else. The fact that he's actually doing Batman again proper, and it's not end of the, shattering the history of Gotham and, changing the status quos and everything. The fact that it's going to be a solid Batman story about him dealing with these villains, and Two-Face in particular, sounds great. Like, I'm in.
Yeah. He gets to, chill. kind of,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about being the main book.
And this will be once a month, presumably. They didn't say when this one
Yeah.
is. So
It's also not been announced when it's coming out,
Yeah.
so
and they announced he's exclusive to DC now. So I fully expect them to announce another book for him at some point. But
Yeah.
for now,
you can still do witches because a lot of these, as I've learned, a lot of those exclusive are just exclusive to superheroes.
yeah, it's just
it's
not Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? Is it not superheroes or is it not licensed properties? 'Cause
Yeah,
that
it's
would
not
rule them
licensed
out by
properties.
IDW
So
and stuff.
it's creator owned. So
Yeah.
if they want to go to Image or whoever else does creator owned and do it, they can. But
Well, that's
if
good
it's
because Witches is something that I don't want to just end abruptly because he's
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they've tied it in that he can do what he's already got planned, but everything else has to go to Vertigo
yeah,
in the
maybe.
future.
Yeah, that makes sense. But no, that's cool. It makes sense. I fully expect when because we've got some stuff from the Q&A that they did after that we'll bring up, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the extra things that is coming later end up being a Scott Snyder book.
Yep.
So that's cool. There's an couple exclusive. I can't remember who they were, but there was 2 or 3 other people throughout who they said, "Oh, this artist is now exclusive." And so
But it's Murphy and Jock teaming back up with Snyder.
Yeah.
And they're doing Batman, so that's enough to be excited for.
Yeah, it's great. So obviously next was the Superman section. It was actually Superman and Wonder Woman. They sort of
Tagged it in there.
I feel like because they don't have as many books each as Batman family.
Well, I felt like they should have left Wonder Woman for the Justice League chunk. Because Superman still has enough books that he can have his own section.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think they would have if they announced Super Sons. They're still keeping that under hush.
Yeah, I suppose.
I feel like they just wanted to get the biggest stuff out first, like Wonder Woman. Wanted to
Well,
get
it's worth mentioning since you brought up Super Sons. It's worth mentioning they didn't give us names. They did show us an image, and they did say that it was the son of Batman, and the son of Superman teaming up. So it's Damien and young John.
John.
Yeah. So
I'm excited for that already. I don't know who's writing it, but I'm excited.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I can't.
And the art that they have on here, it looks real fun. Like it's not.
It looks like an all ages book.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. It looks really cool. So getting into the main books then, Superman, which was not represented on stage by creators. This was the first big one they didn't have people out to talk about. But it's going to be written by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, with art by Gleason and Doug Mankey.
Man, I'm excited.
I wonder if they are co-writing or if they're swapping arcs. The writers, I mean.
Well, Gleason and Tomasi, they have that relationship like Wade and Somni, where they both take credit because they work so hand in hand together. Yeah. But I am a big fan of their work on Green Lantern Corps from before the New 52.
I never actually read much of the core stuff from before New 52. I'm more familiar I'm more familiar with Tomasi from Batman and Robin.
Well, that was Gleason as well.
Was that Gleason
too?
Yeah. Yep. See, that's just why I'm torn. I love their work on that. I think they're a fantastic team on that. Yep. But recently, Tomasi has been dipping his toes in the Superman world with the Superman Wonder Woman stuff, and I have not enjoyed it at all.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping it's an editorial thing, and now this is new status quo. It can be more classic.
He's back to being Superman. Yeah.
That book always felt so forced, though, just based off of what Johns was doing in Justice League.
It did.
Yeah. And the first arc was I enjoyed a whole lot with Feora and what does it mean to be super? But that was Charles Soule.
Yeah, so I feel like lately it's just been existing just to serve crossovers.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Oh, that's it.
So that's Superman. So we didn't get a lot of information on it. It was just here's the names, here's a cover. But hopeful. You want Superman to be good. Obviously, Action Comics. Dan Jurgens is writing that. We've got art from Patrick Zutcher, Tyler Kirkham, and Stephen Segovia. I think I pronounced that right. And this one had Superman on the cover, but it also had Lex with an S on his chest. So presumably the powers that he's getting from Darkseid War, he's going to be keeping some of those. So that's an interesting dynamic to go down, and I like what Jurgens is doing on Lois and Clark, and I also like that because it said there's going to be a Superman and a Clark, so it sounds like old Superman sticking around.
I got the impression that was that Superman from Lois and Clark.
I agree with you. And there was also some stuff in the background from other super related characters, which was nice. The one downside to all of this is that they did mention that Doomsday is going to be featuring in the first
arc.
And we all basically looked at each other figuratively over the internet and said, New 52 Superman is going to be dying.
I feel like that's definitely the way it's going, because none of these books mentioned the New 52 Superman at all.
And let's be honest, no one likes New 52 Superman. We all like old Superman.
So New 52 Superman's a bit of a dick.
He is.
Well, it's not just a bit of a dick. He hasn't been fleshed out enough. Like, Morrison, I feel, in Action Comics, his first, 20 issues, that was a story that was meant for, a miniseries. Because it's all self-contained. And he had Superman as a firefighter at one point for, an issue. And that never paid off again.
And I didn't really like most of his run either.
I liked it on a reread. When I reread it, it read quite well.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it for me, I didn't like a lot of the changes they made. It felt just for the sake of it. Oh, his parents are dead, and he's got a landlady who kind of fills up.
Yeah, and again, I feel that was his Golden Age Superman project he wanted to do after All Star, and they're like, "Well, we're not doing that anymore. Well, I still want to write it. All right, here's Action Comics." But this one, I like just the general idea that it's, again, the flagship for the Superman family.
Yeah.
So we'll be dealing with Lois and the planet and everything else. Plus, Luthor with superpowers is a scary concept.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And Luthor obviously recently has been trying to be, at least prove that he's good. Whether or not he is very much open for debate. But.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it feels like there's an inevitable point where he's going to snap back.
Yeah.
And that's going to
That
be
said,
fun to watch.
I have been enjoying Captain Cold as his head of security.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been liking that stuff. So that's Action Comics, which again, much like Detective, is at 9.5 something. Forgive me for not remembering the exact numbers. I'll remember once.
It's going to be issue. Where's it at?
957.
957. My God. And Action Detective are double shipping as well. It's worth noting as well to see the first month, because we got the solicits without all the information, but it told you the dates.
Yeah.
The double shipping books. The first month, they're still double shipping, but they're not double shipping in the sense that the Rebirth special that's first counts as the first of the 2 issues that month.
So the second month will be 2 and 3.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not getting 3 of one book effectively in one month, which I thought we might when they first announced all this.
I thought that when they announced it, and I thought they were going to kind of close off everything else they were doing with it, just shut down everything like they did with the New 52. So no overlap whatsoever. I thought they might, that they keep their numbers up each month.
Yeah, but they've got all the minis still sort of finishing into that time, and then there's a few, like Cyborg, I think, is finishing its current...
Justice League, because that's been delayed.
Yeah, 51 and 52 are both in
I think Hellblazer as well, if I remember rightly, is still going into that.
Well, I know Tomasi is taking over Superman for the next 2 issues, because it was supposed to be him... It's supposed to be New 52 Clark meeting up with older Dan Jurgens Clark, and they pushed that. Yeah. So, but he's still credited as the writer, so we'll see.
So next up we have New Superman, which I think, because remember one of the books they announced was the Super Dash Man.
Yeah.
I think this has just replaced that in terms of the title. I think I've just renamed it to New Superman.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And it's actually completely different from anything we thought it was. We all thought it was going to be a book about Lex.
Yep.
And it turns out it's actually from Jean-Lin Yang, who's who was writing current Superman. And
Pete, you have trouble with names, but you nailed his.
I'm good with Asian. For some reason, Chinese and Japanese names I can hit, but when it comes to European,
say the new Superman artist,
Victor Bogdanovich.
There you go.
That one's alright. I've seen that name before, though. So
you had to think about it, though.
I had to think of it a little bit. Jin-Lin Yang, I don't know. I'm just... it's easy.
Nailed it again.
But anyway, so he's writing this. It's art by the Victor fella that I mentioned. And I'm not doing it twice, come on. Right? And it focuses on a new character called Kenji Kong from Shanghai, who is given Superman's powers. And it's about this new guy with Superman's powers trying to, And what they actually said on stage was it's about the idea of Superman and how it translates to other people. And
sounds so good.
It sounds good. This sounds great.
And it's set in Shanghai, which Yang said, if you've ever been there, it's like Metropolis now. It's always 20 years ahead of everything. Yeah. So
it's kind of like how Tokyo's kind of like the city in Blade Runner, almost, without the flying cars.
Mm-hmm. So this, I'm so excited because I had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, this is just a complete surprise.
And the best stuff on Superman the last couple of months had been in in Superman that Yang was writing when he was part of this like God and superhero wrestling promotion, where when God stories have nowhere else to go, they still get told, so the gods still have this power. So he's teaming up with the Korean god of the sun, Haemo Soo, and just tag teaming the bad guys, and it's great. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I want to see more of that type of stuff and that creativity brought to the Superman stuff.
And taking it away from Clark Kent frees up what he can do, and no one will complain.
Yeah, he can do whatever weird idea he's got, and no one's going to be that upset because it's not. So
and it answers the diversity problem, right? That now we have an Asian Superman, Yeah,
we got a Chinese Superman. That's cool.
It'd be cool, like the idea of like every area having a Superman, essentially, someone who rises to the occasion.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd almost argue that you shouldn't keep giving them the same powers. I'm fine with them doing it once, but let's say they did want to do like the analogy for Superman in Africa or whatever.
Right.
But make them have a different power set and just take the spirit of who Superman is.
It's kind of the same thing with Batman. Like Nightwing is very different. And even down to his his look and his fighting style, but it's the same idea that he's inspired by.
But when Bruce did have to go away, and
he
what happened, he stepped up and he became the Batman because the world needed him.
Multiple times.
This is almost like what Batman Inc. should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but for Superman.
Yeah, I didn't like Batman Inc. I didn't like the idea of franchising. Like I thought, it just felt really weird to me.
That's Morrison for you.
Yeah. But no, I like this idea. And it reminds me a lot in some ways of Secret Identity. Mm-hmm. And I really like that story because it's about the idea of Superman.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm down for new Superman. I mean, it could be mediocre when it hits, but on a pure concept basis...
I doubt it, though. Yang's been pretty good when he's not tied in a crossover.
Yeah.
Savage Dawn, I say under my breath. But
Kenji Kong, much like they pointed out on stage, I like the kept alliterated K sound for his name. And last up in terms of just purely Superman related, Supergirl. We're getting a Supergirl book. First of all, I love the new design. It's like a mix of the new 52 and the classic skirt look.
Yep.
Looks very good.
She needs, and I don't know if it sounds, it's going to offend people, but she needs the skirt.
I feel like it's just an iconic part of her look.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be I actually think it looks better when it's a knee-high skirt anyway, so it doesn't have to be short.
Yeah.
It just
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It's no different to giving Black Canary like the fishnets.
Yeah.
Like it's just
it's part of her look. And it doesn't have to be that belly shirt like they did when Turner was drawing her.
Yeah, it can be the full top. I mean, basically Supergirl in the show and even the movie from 1983 is how I expect Supergirl to look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Skirt, tall red boots. The show added the tights underneath, which is fine. It doesn't take her, add anything to it. It's fine. But I think she looks great. Steve Orlando is writing, and it's going to be art by Brian Ching.
Have either of you been reading Midnighter, which is Steve Orlando's book at the minute?
I have not, but people have been saying it's good. Oh. So fill me with hope.
I fell off after a few issues ago. It's just because I need to catch up, but it was pretty fun. Like it was just a dose of fun again.
It was fun. I like that sound of that.
It was him having fun with it, and
I feel like
the character is gay, has like this crush on Nightwing and stuff, and it just had a lot of fun with that aspect of it.
That's a really cool idea. Actually, there's a guy with a crush on the superhero. That's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
I feel like they mentioned the premise of the first arc, and I've forgotten it. Did they?
No, yeah. So they're bringing back Zor-El as Cyborg Superman. Which
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Cyborg Superman.
Supergirl originally picked back up with the Citadel stuff. So that was pretty good. So
that was quite funny actually when they said that. He's like, so I'm bringing in a Cyborg Superman. He's the villain for the first. And it turns out it's our dad, and the entire room just went, what?
Shows you how many people weren't paying attention to Supergirl back.
That was that's the new 52
year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was brought up. I can't remember because I liked Supergirl when it started, and then it had that stupid Hell on Earth crossover, which made me drop it.
The last arc that it had was amazing.
Yeah, because it got a new team for the last arc. The last arc was great, and then they cancelled it, and it was like,
because of Convergence. And then we didn't have one when Supergirl premiered, which is so weird.
So weird.
Interestingly, this is coming in September, so right when Supergirl Season 2 will be starting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because I read today that CBS announced renewals and Supergirl wasn't amongst
Yeah,
them.
but nah. Well, I'll alleviate your fears. First of all,
Yeah.
they already did this thing where they said that 5 of their new shows, and they only have like 6 are being renewed,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And secondly, that big list of renewals they had yesterday or the day before, that was all shows that weren't like freshmen. They were all long running. So
Cool then.
they deliberately didn't that list
my-
didn't include any first like season 1 shows were in that
Okay.
list. So I wouldn't
Good,
worry.
because I need one good Superman product on my screen.
Yeah, I
So-
agree. I agree with that. So that's Supergirl. And then sort of crossing over into other stuff, Trinity, which was a big surprise.
Oh,
Oh yes,
Because I don't think this was in the list as titles before, was it?
it
No.
was.
Was it? Okay.
I
was
feel
it?
like it was.
I don't remember it. This really came out of nowhere for me.
Really,
Yeah.
I vaguely remember.
You could be right. You could be right.
Because I remember
let's
people
not
saying how it's
bury the lead.
replacing.
Why are we?
Yeah, okay,
Why are
yeah.
we so excited for it though?
Yeah.
Trinity, written by Francis Manapul, with art by Manapul and Clayman. And the cover they showed for this looked gorgeous.
Yep.
This just looks fantastic.
This after that travesty of a film, I
We
am
need this.
so
This is
excited
what
for
we
this.
We need this.
Yeah.
Plus Manipul, he's probably my favorite artist working right now because he can do the action stuff, but it's not pointy and angular. Like there's a softness to it that I just his stuff
And
that he
its
did with John's.
layouts as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love his.
that too.
I love his stuff. He's very, and he's different from other stuff I love because I love Jock. Like Jock's
Yeah.
like
Dark and scratchy.
dark and scratchy, and I love dark and scratchy. But Manipul's got this very sort of clean, almost watercolor kind of look to it, and it. And obviously that's the colouring as well, but it's great. So Trinity, yeah, we're down for Trinity. Notice that up until now, there is nothing we've said we definitely don't want.
Nope.
Nothing.
The least excited we've got yet is like, oh, this has potential.
Yeah, like the least excited is maybe like we have some caveats about Superman or Action Comics because this or that.
Probably
But,
Batgirl and the Birds of Prey because the writers are
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah, like-
That's very like, maybe.
but they all sound interesting. Like they all. I'm all.
I'm definitely not for Batgirl. Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. Never mind. I'm gonna recuse myself
Okay.
because we said Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I thought there was 2 books, but it's not. It's one book.
That's the one book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Batgirl, then
Yeah,
Batgirl
yeah.
and the Birds of Prey.
I'm following now.
Cool. So next up, Superwoman. And it says here the series will also feature a new character. Now, do you think that means that Superwoman herself is someone that we know is old?
I don't know. Last time they had a Superwoman, it was Lucy Lane. So
Or was it? Okay.
yeah, that was during the World of New Krypton.
I didn't realise that
And
was
it
Lucy
was
Lane.
Supergirl.
I haven't read
Yeah.
the new Krypton stuff, but
Yep.
I didn't realise
Yeah,
that
and her
was Lucy Lane.
suit gave her the powers, so she was picked from.
Oh, right, okay.
Her dad picked her to infiltrate New Krypton, and she was double spy. It was really good. It's worth going back and reading. Yeah, that was the Sterling Gates stuff,
Yeah.
which I was a big fan of.
And written by Phil Jimenez, with art by him and Emanuela Lupacino.
Pacino.
There you go. It's the Spanish name.
Yeah.
Latin
no,
based
I'm
games.
with you there.
The Spanish
You're
name's
fine with the Cantonese and Mandarin and
Yeah.
Kenji
Yeah,
languages, but once you start getting to the Latin based, it's.
yeah.
I got to hear you say French names now.
I feel like French is easier because you just go, well, that's probably silent.
Yeah. You just make it sound frothy in your mouth, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just with confidence and frothy, you're fine.
It's-
Honestly, Superwoman is probably the first one that I'm not down on, but I literally feel nothing about it one way or the other.
Well, 'cause
Yeah,
we know
I-
nothing about
Yeah,
it.
'cause
I
we know
don't
nothing
know the
about it.
writer.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, when we start this podcast come May and we go into June, we're going to do all the number ones, or in the
Yeah.
case of Action Detective 9, whatever. But
They're effectively number ones.
yeah, all the
Yeah.
first issues we're going to cover, and then we'll decide from then on which ones we're keeping on a week-to-week basis. But this is the first one where I'm not like super excited. It's just because I don't know what it is, but it could be great. I mean,
Yeah, the idea is like, well, there's nothing wrong with what we heard.
yeah. Now, next up, there's not really groups anymore. I mean, they call the next group the Justice League group, but it's really just a collection.
Whoa.
Skip the major.
What
This
it?
was Superman and Wonder Woman section.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I'm putting this in the Justice League section. Sorry, that's just me
Yeah.
doing that. Sorry. Right.
It's your brain at work.
But effectively, from now on, it's just different things, right? But yeah, so they bring out Is it the artist they bring out for Wonder Woman? No, they don't. They don't even bring out the one. The artist.
They brought up
no,
the artist first.
They brought
Because
out,
Jim Lee said that he's a big fan of his.
Yeah. And they teased it because this is the thing about this. This reminds me, and this will be lost on Matt, is because you're not a gamer. Yeah. This reminds me of Sony announcing the PS4 and sort of saying, "Look, we've been up our own arses, and we know what the problems were. Here's some." They were very self-aware of what the issues were, right?
Yeah.
And this part specifically to me felt like, right, Rucka was not here. There was a falling out, and we would love to have him back. We've buried those hatchets. Johns was clearly excited to introduce him onto the stage. They teased it because the writer was like, "Oh, I'll be getting these scripts and it says redacted over the name of the writer," and really, really fun stuff. So Greg Rucka is back at DC. I hope he ends up writing something else as well at DC. To be honest, I'd love more from Rucka.
I feel like because we got him in Convergence doing the
that was a good sign. That was the sign that things might work out in this sense, but. Greg Rucka is writing Wonder Woman. It's shipping twice a month. We've got Nicola Scott on art.
And what was the other person?
The other person's not
Liam
written in
Sharp.
this list. That's why I can't remember. That's why I'm not saying it.
No, it's Liam Sharp.
Liam Sharp. There you go. Yeah, he was the one that was on stage.
He was the one that was there.
Yeah. That's why I said Nicola Scott. I was like, man, it wasn't a woman. That's why I was getting confused.
And what they're doing is amazing.
Yeah, so it's double shipping, right? And the way it's working is the odd numbered issues, so 1, 3, so on. That's going to be the present day Wonder Woman story, whatever that is. And then the even numbered shipping, he's actually calling it Wonder Woman Year 1. Which is amazing.
Do you know what this is? Didn't they stole Earth 1 from him to give to Morrison for
yes.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
what got him pissed off with DC.
Yep.
Now it's like, here you go. You can do Year 1. It's in continuity.
Yeah,
you can and
that's more important.
Yeah, that's what they've done.
Do you know what I like about it as well, though? Is I like that Batman's got Year 1, Robin and Batgirl have got Year 1. Superman doesn't have a Year 1, but he's got like 10 other versions of his origin, so he doesn't need one.
Yeah, Green Arrow's got one.
So it's nice that Wonder Woman's getting a Year 1.
My one concern is I really like the New 52 origin stuff that they did back at the start, Azzarello, and I don't want them to undo that, so I'd like them to work with that ideally.
Hopefully, but at the same time, I kind of get if they... I'll wait for Matt to come back.
Yeah.
I can hear him.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
Right,
you told me not to yell anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But so I'll just count down and I'll repeat my last thingy. So Wonder Woman's getting a Year 1. Yep. That's good. And ideally they'd work with, what they did in the New 52 from Azzarello, but at the same time, I'll understand if they don't. I'll understand if they do a bit more of a soft reboot, just because they want to make it work in the current context where she's also in Justice League and she's also.
And let's be honest, Wonder Woman's always kind of been a bit of a mess in terms of origin.
Yeah, and Azzarello's run was really disconnected from everything else in the DC.
It was, and it can almost stand alone on its own, because it has. But that's what Rucka had said, that the story of this first arc is going to be her reconciling the inconsistencies of her life.
Really?
It's going to look at that, and I'm sure that's going to play into Year 1. I'm sure with him writing both, they're going to weave into each other. Yeah. So, you're not going to have to read both if you don't want to. But if you do, it's going to be a better...
Yeah, I feel like it's genius, because I think, as far as I'm aware, he's the only one treating the double shipping as 2 separate books.
Yes.
Rather than...
As far as we know right now, at least, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And is it Nicola Scott doing the Year 1 stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they work so well together on Black Magic.
Yeah, and that image looked good, by the way, the cover for the Year 1 side of things. What's really weird about that, though, is it means you're going to have to wait ages for the trades. Well, I suppose it's double shipping, so it'll still be the same rate.
Still be the same amount of time,
yeah. But you'll get 2 trades. You get the Year 1 trade on its own, and then you'll get... I wonder how long each one, because I'm wondering if when Year 1 finishes, if it'll just go to a regular...
He said Year 1 will be 12 issues, I think he said.
Did he say that?
I thought he did, yeah.
I don't remember him saying it, but if he did, fair enough.
I think he said the first 12 issues will be Year 1, and then... So I don't know what he's doing after that.
Maybe after that he's got another plan. Maybe he'll do another early years of Wonder Woman story. Maybe the Year 2.
Just keep it going.
Yeah. It reminds me almost a little bit of Aaron Starr at the start, when he had the 3 timelines of Thor.
And then it'll kind of caught up.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see this one catching up per se, but it just reminds me a little bit how you'd have You'd have the modern Thor, you'd have the old Thor, you'd also have the future Thor. I don't think we'll get future Wonder Woman, but you know what I mean. So similar kind of idea. No?
Although Wonder Woman with an eye patch would be pretty dope.
So that's Wonder Woman. That was a big win for the day. And at this point, I mean, this is the Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman sections, and we're pretty fucking happy after those three.
I feel like at this point it was like, I don't care what else happens.
Yeah, the rest could be terrible, and this would be, you know, these three sections would have been enough. But it's not all bad after this either. We've got some good stuff too.
No, it does. There's a few peaks coming up, but most of the stuff after this, I'm excited, but not.
Yeah, it's not
on the same level as that first.
But I mean, it makes sense that the Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman sections would be the areas where they put the most effort into.
Yeah.
So next up, Justice League. It's worth mentioning that there's also a JLA coming, Justice League of America, coming later. That's not coming till fall, I think.
I think they said October. Let me double check.
So,
it's
feel
not listed up till September, so it's definitely.
No offense to Brian Hitch, but I feel like JLA is going to be the flagship one when it hits.
Yep.
Because they're keeping it a secret. And we still don't know what Johns is writing, other than co-writing like one shot. So I feel like, and we know he's working with Fabok.
Yeah.
So I expect that to be either JLA, although Shazam maybe if they announce that later.
Do you know, there's something interesting here because at the minute there's two Justice League books. Well, there's Justice League, which is obviously the main one with Johns, and then there's JLA, which is all Hitch.
Yeah. And now Hitch is getting Justice League. Yeah.
Have either of you been reading the Hitch's JLA?
I read the first, I would say 3 issues.
I did as well and then got bored.
Yeah, basically.
I'm hoping, but he was doing writing and art on that, right?
Yeah, he was, yeah. Now,
so I'm hoping with other people doing the art, he can focus on one and it'll be better.
Well, he was doing that widescreen art style too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm kind of thinking this might not be something we keep going after the first couple of issues, but at the same time, you know, all the other good stuff with all these characters elsewhere, it's not a big deal if it isn't great.
The thing is, I feel like I want to keep a Justice League book until JLA hits.
Yeah.
I'll like keep it just as long as that, and then once the real one's here, it's like, all right.
But maybe we're selling them short. Maybe it'll come out and this will be.
It's funny too that Tony Daniel was there, and he said that working with Brian Hitch, he says him and I. Our sensibilities are different, but we're merging together to make a great marriage of different influences, which tells me that things aren't all well in Justice League house.
Well, it's actually what's worth mentioning. The Justice League itself, the team, is an interesting mix of characters because I can't remember exactly who was on the cover because I'm not looking at it, but you had some of the majors. You had Batman and Wonder Woman and
Superman, Flash.
You have Cyborg, Flash, Batman on one side, and then Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman, and then also.
But the important ones we're going to mention are the 2 Green Lanterns, which is Jessica Cruz, who's been Power Ring, but it looks like she's going to be officially a Green Lantern with Rebirth, and Simon Baz, who we thought they'd all forgotten. So that's nice.
Yeah,
the rookie lanterns, if you will.
So I'm cool with the team. I think that's nice. And I hope it's good. I hope it's good. But it's kind of one of the ones where I'm not expecting it to be great.
The pitch was also kind of it felt like what his JLA at the minute is, just kind of going off on a world bending adventure.
Which could be fine. I mean, if it's just a little bit more fun or entertaining, then maybe it's the sense of we don't want to have a big event right after we do this Rebirth thing. So Justice League is just going to be fun romp for a while
for 5 months. Yeah.
And then maybe when Jelly hits, that's the one where it feels like the big deal. This is the 7 main members. This is Hal Jordan and the rest of the team, and maybe Martian Manhunter
back in there.
Yeah. That would be a good thing if they brought Manhunter back for Jelly. That would be good.
Yeah.
So that's Justice League. Then we jumped over to the Green Lantern stuff. Now this was the first real disappointment of the day, was Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps is going to be written by Robert Venditti.
Yay.
Art by Ethan Van Sciver, which is cool.
Yeah, the art's good, but I mean, I don't tend to pick up comics just off of art.
Yeah, not do I. I mean, I can put up with art I don't like for a good story, but I can't put up with.
I can't. Yeah, you can't put up with bad writing for the sake of just the art.
So that's okay. The thing that stuck out to me is John's praising Venditti for his Sinestro, Which that's the one problem I had with Johns' run. Is it became too focused on Sinestro and not Hal, who's supposed to be the star of your series. So,
That's
or
it,
any
though.
of the Earthliners for that matter.
To
you
be
know
fair,
what I mean?
a lot of that stuff with Sinestro at the end of John's run was the best. Like, because after New 52 started, it felt like it lost its way a little bit, but it was the Sinestro stuff that actually really sold me on this being like a good ending. So
I still have issues with that. Just I felt like it wrapped up too quick. It's like he got bored with Green Lantern. And
yeah,
was like, well,
He wanted to put all his energy into Justice League, didn't he?
I agree with the ending feeling rushed, but you know it was like the moment for me, and minor spoilers I guess, but the moment for me in Green Lantern where it recaptured that amazing feeling for me again. It was when the Indigo Lanterns, the Indigo Tribe, does the Sinestro thing where they brainwash him and they have him locked up, and Hal says, "Look, no, I need Sinestro to go and save the world or whatever." And they say, we're only going to let him out if you can admit the possibility that Sinestro can be good. You know that whole thing was like, okay, this is back to what I loved about Green Lantern.
Yep.
And it ties in those two together, their rivalry, their friendship being the entire core of this, whole run. But
it's such a shame because Venditti's been doing such a boring job.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not even bad. It's just boring.
The thing is, I read X-O Manowar and I thought it was really great, and I was excited when he got put on Green Lantern. I was like, oh, now he's in space.
Yeah, he followed Paul Cornell on Demon Knights, and it wasn't the greatest, but it was fun. He jumped them forward and did some fun things with Etrigan and whatnot. But yeah, his Flash and Green Lantern just kind of schmeh.
Yeah,
it just feels like he went straight into a crossover and. There was nothing interesting about it. There was no hooks, and then Convergence happened, and we had the shake up for the sake of it with Hal.
Yeah, and we hoped there'd be a new writer on Green Lantern after it, and there wasn't. And we hoped again there'd be a new writer on Green Lantern again with this. I'm really happy he's not on anything else though. Which is nice.
Sure.
This is the only book he's working on.
What is it with Green Lantern that can survive these events? Like with John survived the New 52 and this reboot of everything, yet John's story on Green Lantern just carried on like nothing happened.
Yeah, and same with Convergence with his run.
And now Rebirth, and it's just going to carry on.
On the upside though, the second Green Lantern book is called Green Lanterns, and this is the one that's much more interesting. It's written by Sam Humphries and art by Robson, I don't know if it's Rocha or Roca, and Saif. They are going to be doing a book that's actually, and this surprised me as well, it's actually the two rookies. It's Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz, and he referred to it as Lethal Weapon in space with power rings, and it's basically a buddy cop Green Lantern story with the two rookies trying to learn how to do their thing on Earth. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced about the writer necessarily, but
he's hit or miss a bit for me.
Yeah. But the concept is solid. Like I'm down with it.
Yeah, I like Saif's art as well.
So, that's good stuff. In terms
they're
of
properly using the Red Lanterns. So
and Red Lanterns are the villains. Yeah, that's not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's none of this. Soul. I love Soul for most of what he does, but him trying to make the Red Lanterns heroes just doesn't gel.
Yeah,
with the mad dog nature of them.
I liked the book because some of them were still villains, like, and it was a good read. But it wasn't really the same.
Yeah. So that's Green Lanterns. So that's got a promising concept. Next up, The Flash. Now this is one that I was desperate for Venditti to get off, and he is off it. We're now going to get Joshua Williamson writing it, and we've got art by Carmine D. Oh my god.
Gian Domenico.
Thank you.
Don't worry, even Joshua Williamson got the name wrong.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, when he was trying to say it, he was like he just butchered it and then he got corrected.
And also Neil Goog or Googe as
Googe.
Googe. Is it Googe?
That's I don't know if it's right. That's how I choose to say it.
Okay, I'm going to go with Googe because it sounds better.
Googe.
But so that's the two artists. Obviously, it's going to be a double. Obviously, Flash is a big title, so it's double shipping.
Yep.
And this is cool. And I actually, not only is it promising with the new writer on it, but the concept that he said, I thought sounded really cool. A Speed Force storm hits Central City, and several people get speed powers. Some of them are good, so there's probably going to be some new hero characters that pop up out of this. Some of them are criminals, and one's going to be a flat-out killer called Godspeed. And I joked and instantly went, All right, that's season 4 of the Flash villain right there. That's going to be that
I'd be
arc.
game for it if it's good.
Yeah, if it's good, yeah, great. Yeah.
Straight off though, what a fantastic name for a Flash villain.
Yeah, Godspeed.
Godspeed.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm not so big on the Speed Force Storm, considering I don't know if you guys read all of the Booch and Maniple stuff.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, they did the Speedster. You know, everyone gets Speedster powers from the ones that were stuck in the Speed Force with them. That's how they introduced Reverse Flash. So I mean, maybe they can get it and do it properly this time. I do like the idea that some become heroes. Some are just like, whatever. I have speed powers now.
Yeah, petty crooks or whatever, but not evil necessarily. Yeah,
exactly. And then one that's like, oh, I'm going to use this to wreck stuff. And based off the cover, we have full-on Wally West. None of this silver suit, red. He is the Wally from Vendidi's run, but he's wearing the classic yellow.
Yeah, he's Kid Flash, and he's
I'm alright with that.
And I guess being, you know, because he's black in the comics now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I guess that ties it nicely with the show, which is fine. I mean, the race isn't anything really to do.
No,
I mean,
just rob me of my ginger heroes.
Yeah. I keep joking that every white character that they're casting as black, they keep doing it with ginger characters because Jimmy Olsen is ginger and now he's black in TV, and Wally West has become black in both TV and comics. Yeah. So,
so it's a nice bit of synergy. And again, when it comes to the race and stuff, it's
don't get me
fine.
Matter as long as the character's good, I don't care.
Don't get me wrong. I'm still always going to miss the fact that they retconned all of Wally West, like John's run, and like, you know, all that. That still hurts because he was married and he had kids, and I really liked all that stuff.
But it's done is done.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, everything else is looking so promising that I can, you know, get past it. But when that was, you know,
go ahead, Pete.
I was gonna say when that was like one of 50 things that they, you know, pissed me off with. It was upsetting.
Yeah.
But I also like that John's pointed out that Williamson came up to him 15 years ago as a fan and nerded out on the Flash with him, and now he gets to write it, which is a feeling that John's had when he took over the Flash. And so it's kind of cool to see that. So
hopefully big stuff. Now, next up, we have Cyborg, written by John Semper, art by Will Conrad and Paul Pelletier. There you go.
He was.
I missed this section because I had a phone call, so fill me in on this.
Well, I'm not overly keen on Cyborg, generally. Johns loves him for some reason, but that said, though, his pitch, like the writer they've got here, John Semper, he worked on animated shows, Static Shock. He did Spider-Man back in the 90s, I think it said, and. So he's not a comic writer traditionally, but that doesn't mean he's going to be bad. He could be good. He could be a convert, and he sort of praises the talent around him and cracks a dig at Didio.
At the end of the day, it's episodic storytelling.
You crack a dig at Didio, and then you're instantly one of the gang.
Yeah, you're one of the good guys already. Get up on stage, tell Zack Snyder to fuck off, and tell Dan Slott he's a knob end, and then you're like my favourite new up and coming writer. So.
I just love your guys' terms for dickhead. Knobhead. That's such a good one.
We say dickhead as well, but yeah, knobhead.
I know, but you know, you don't hear me yelling knobhead at people in traffic.
True.
You know, that's your guys'.
Pillick is another one that we often use. But anyway, so his pitch was basically that Cyborg was going to be about him living in Detroit, and he's like. He's not sure where the man begins and the machine ends, and it's all about the soul in the machine. And like, does he have a soul? Is it the soul of the machine or the soul of the man? And I was getting some sort of RoboCop flashbacks, where not just because he said Detroit, but just because the idea that he's searching for his identity because he's not sure how human he is anymore. And I'm like, you know what? If you can pull this off in the way that it sounds, I'm down with it.
Yeah. The way you've just pitched it there sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and he brought up the Kurzweil singularity. Who's a futurist inventor, and how Cyborg is the singularity. He is man and machine put together, and that's what sold me on this. When they announced Cyborg was getting a book, I tried his most recent one, and the first issue just wasn't for me.
I tried two issues and just nah.
Yeah. So this though sounds definitely more my speed. He's doing the sci-fi, and even if he's on it for an arc, then it's a good Cyborg story that we didn't have before. So.
Yeah. No, I'd love to make for it to make me care about Cyborg more, because I always feel kind of weird about like being in the Justice League. It's always felt kind of weird and off. I'm like, where's Martian Manhunter? like
he's still a Titan.
Yeah, he's still a Titan.
To,
and
to us, he's still a.
Even in the movies, like they're showing his origin like hinted at before they show Green Lantern or other people, and it's like, this is weird. Like he doesn't feel like an A player, but hopefully, always willing to let them prove me wrong or make him that. Next up, Aquaman. Dan Abnett is going to be writing him. Oh, and Brad Walker. He's got a second writer. Yeah. Also, there's a typo here. It says Heart by, not Art.
Yeah.
Art by Walker as well. And is it Jesus? Is this a Spanish name? Yeah.
Jesus Marino.
Jesus Marino. Because I was going to say Jesus, but I'm going to say
it feels like there should be an accent in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably just wrote this up real quick though.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Phil Briones.
I think that what excited me about this as well was they confirmed Jeff Johns is still the Seven Seas stuff is still coming.
Yeah. Dan Abnett says that he's working with Johns to do Seven Seas down the line, so that's still going to happen, which is cool. I liked what I seen in the art. It looked like proper Aquaman. And I really, I was going to say I really like Johns' Aquaman. I liked the stuff after Johns as well, so I really hope that this continues to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the emo guy that was just in Aquaman that I quit reading finally after 4 years. So he's back and talking about how Atlantis is going to claim itself as part of the larger world, and how some people of the rest of the world don't want that, and how some Atlanteans don't want that.
I feel like you can deal with the political fallout in that really interestingly.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Not much to say on that, but promising.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Titans, which is also written by Dan Abnett and art by Brett Booth. And this, okay, the art might not be great, but...
Well, no, I really like Brett Booth on Nightwing. His Nightwing stuff was really good. I thought it captured it well.
I also feel he worked really well with Higgins, and that's who...
It could have just been that, yeah.
Abnett. Because once he got to Flash, and I defended him going to Flash, and it was actually kind of boring.
His flashback was really stupid.
Yeah. So
what this basically is, what Titans is actually the old Teen Titans sort of grown up. It's Nightwing. You got Wonder Girl there. You've got who else was there? Can't remember. They just put the image up quickly.
The Starfire.
Yeah.
I think possibly Starfire. But I mean, it was the old legacy characters, sort of grown up, and like them still being a team because presumably they're still friends and that kind of idea. So that's pretty cool.
They did say as well.
There.
Oh yeah,
Arsenal was there. That's right. Yeah, Arsenal,
Garth, Aqualad.
Aqualad. Yeah, I thought I seen an Aqualad.
And then there's a green character. I'm gonna guess is Beast Boy, but that's because I don't know who else.
Yeah, who it could be.
Yeah. It could be.
So that's it feels like Cyborg should be here, not in Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also said it kind of follows directly on from Titan's Hunt, which is a mini on at the minute. And now I'm gonna have to go and read that, aren't I?
Yeah, maybe. Yep. We'll see. Next up, Suicide Squad, written by Rob Williams, art by Jim Lee and Philip Tan. Jim Lee joked about getting a double shipping book out on time.
We missed the part too about Fabak coming out to talk about the 80-page special he's working on with Johns.
I was just gonna leave that to the end.
Okay, I gotcha.
I was gonna leave it to the end.
Okay. Well,
so
ignore me.
Yeah, so Suicide Squad. It's the movie team from the cast, they said, and a few more people who they wouldn't reveal for, I guess, surprises.
Well, ones that they didn't mention from the movie cast, they didn't mention Enchantress, but then they said, there's more coming. It's just like, okay.
So there's more coming, but she's also probably going to be the villain of the movie, so it kind of makes sense that she wouldn't be in the team. So,
sure.
I mean, they even mentioned, did they mention Slipknot? They mentioned one of the small ones.
Well, they said Boomerang. That's where John started cutting people off.
Yeah.
Going, let's not tell too much. But on the cover of I think it's Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad's the full name now.
Is it?
It's
I thought.
I think it's just Suicide Squad.
No, I think they announced Harley Quinn and they talked about them at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of the titles yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought they were just squeezing Harley in there just because it's Harley.
No, I mean she's kind of headlining the book, but she's not.
Yeah.
Title's not.
But no, it's gonna have Killer Croc, and I guess her and Killer Croc have a weird relationship. Like it's supposed to be real fun. And then Deadshot and Katana. Those are all on the cover with Harley.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the movie cast basically. And Harley Quinn, written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, and that's the team that's currently on it, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
feel like Chad Hardin, the artist there, is on it at the minute as well.
And John Timms.
So Harley Quinn is strong enough not to be affected by relaunch.
To be fair, it's what people want from that book anyway.
I'm sure it is. I'm just cracking a joke that all the big characters are getting affected, and then Harley Quinn's like, no, I'm totally strong.
Well, the thing is, with all the other characters, it's like Flash. It's like, oh shit, we actually need to change. Flash.
Yeah.
Harley, it's like, no, people love this. Just keep it
exactly.
there.
And I like what Connor said that they're gonna bring in more people. Now they finally have the okay that continuity's fine again. So if you want to bring in other characters other than the ones that they had just had listed, so they said expect to see a lot of Gotham characters pop up.
Yeah, they specifically said we'll see a lot more of Ivy in there, which would be great because I love Harley and Ivy.
That's pretty cool. Next up, Green Arrow. And this got a cheer because they showed the image and he had a goatee, and I have to admit,
people are weird.
He looks better with a goatee. I'm happy the goatee's there. Written by Ben Percy, with art by Otto Schmidt and Jean Ferreira. So
Ferreira.
Oh, fuck, man, god damn it! I thought Jean was a safe bet. Fucking
it's alright. I'd have said the same as you.
I gotcha.
Do you know the problem is, see in the UK, you don't have all these fucking foreign names.
Southwest, man, we got them.
Yeah, it's
great food.
We have Asian people. There's a lot of Chinese and Indian takeaways, but there's no. This.
Oh, I'm sure you can rattle off Indian names better than I can.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Those trip me up like no one's business. But yeah, with Green Arrow, I like Ben Percy. He's going. He's staying on, and we're gonna get Green Arrow and Black Canary together finally.
Yeah, because they said they're finally going to meet, which is good.
Only took 5 minutes.
Yeah, because what's funny is I always thought that Black Canary informed Mockingbird, right, at Marvel, and then Mockingbird on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is what I want Black Canary to be on Arrow.
Oh, but no.
And and then it's Mockingbird's origin in the New 52 is what we got for Black Canary with government work and whatnot. It's been a mess. So hopefully this streamlines that.
Hopefully
and we get Ollie and Dinah back together as they're meant to be.
Yeah, and see if I open the page and they're calling her Laurel, and the word if the word bloodlust pops up at any point in that first issue.
Don't even bring that up. Just don't even joke about that.
He's always been a werewolf the last couple issues, so he might have a bloodlust.
What if they crack a joke though? What if you open the first page and literally the first line is "Are you okay?" Oh. And that's how they bring us in.
If they play it off as a joke, I'd be alright with it.
Yeah. So that's Green Arrow. So yeah, fairly promising there as well. Next up is the moment I laughed as much as because I laughed so hard because it was like. Because all day I was like, oh my god, what are they going to put Lobdell on? I'm so worried they're going to put Scott Lobdell on something I care about. And then it was like, Red Hood and the Outlaws, still written by Scott Lobdell. And I'm like, great! I don't care about that.
Excellent. It's a shame, I'd like to like it. It's got Artemis and Bizarro as the team.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd kind of like to like this, but then Lobdell's on it, so...
Well, this was the one book he really didn't mess up. This was the one that when he was on it, it wasn't terrible.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty. It wasn't terrible and bad, but it was boring.
You know?
Yeah, but it wasn't Superman terrible and it wasn't Teen Titans terrible. And those are two franchises that brought me to comics that he ran into the ground. So if he wants to run in Jason Todd into the ground, please
that's
take your crowbar to him.
This is the one that I will properly be dreading when we're covering all the first issues because I'm not going to make any exceptions. We're going to do them all.
I hope Peter likes it.
This is easily the worst thing from this whole slate.
Yeah, but it's also funny because we don't. It's not like invading something we don't care about or we do care about. You know, it's keeping Scott Lobdell over in this little corner where I can quite happily just sort of write that off.
And he gets to write a messed up Superman, so good for him.
Next up, The Hellblazer, written by Simon Oliver and art by Moritat.
I have no idea who that is, but they must be awesome if they have one name.
Yeah.
That's the rule. I don't
That's
know who
cool.
Simon Oliver is either, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that I've never really cared for Constantine. Not really.
No,
Nothing
me
against him, but I've never.
You just hate magic.
Yeah, I'm just not a magic guy. Yeah. So no feelings one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't
I-
like Doctor
I-
Strange either.
I want to like it. I don't know
I don't.
what to expect because I don't know this writer. I don't know the artist, but hopefully it'll be good.
Oh, okay. He wrote some stuff for Vertigo. He wrote Gen 13
Right.
back in the day. How long ago was this? 2008. So not that far back in the day, but and he also did the FBP, which is the Federal Bureau of Physics.
Oh, that was meant to be really good.
yeah.
Alright.
So.
Well, you never know. Maybe it's.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about that book, so it has me more excited.
All right, next up. This next one's one of these ones where it almost doesn't matter who. Like, it'd have to be like a superstar writer on it that I really love to make me care, because the thought of reading a solo Deathstroke book is like weird. Like,
I really liked the I think was it Higgins who did an arc.
Higgins. Apparently, that was him being taken off of that was the crime of the century.
that
And
is,
then they took
That
him
was
off of
really
Nightwing.
good.
there's just some characters that I feel like just don't lend themselves to their own book. And
Yeah, I know
Deathstroke
what
is
you
just
mean.
kind of one of them. Anyway, but it's written by Christopher Priest and it's got art by Carlo. Oh my god,
Aguilion?
Pagliulian.
There you go. Peggy Lion. That's how I would say it.
Yeah.
And well, this is a weird name just because I'm looking at it and thinking my head goes to Victoria, but it's not even. It's Vittorina, and Philly Watanabe. Oh, I know Watanabe because I know Ken Watanabe. There you go.
I just did the same thing in my head.
Easy. Yeah, no opinions one way or the other.
Let him fight.
I don't know who Christopher Priest is. Don't know any of his work.
He's been around a while. He did some Falcon stuff.
Although
in the 80s.
I have to say that is like one of the most biblical names I have ever seen in my like Christ Priest.
That's true.
But yeah, next up, this one's quite cool. Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis, and it's written by Dan Jurgens and art by Bernard Chang. Definitely worth checking that out.
I'll be reading that for sure.
I never watched Batman Beyond, so I don't really have any attachment. But I'm glad it's.
Connor,
I know. But I'm
Hey,
glad. I'm glad for everyone's sake that it's Terry back.
Hey,
and
Connor,
not they're trying this stuff with Tim.
I think next time you decide you want to go through Batman the animated series and Superman the animated series and Justice League, finish it up with a bit of Batman Beyond because
Yes.
You know, it is
It
the Easter
is my
holidays.
favorite-
I do have a
Yeah.
month off.
I
It
recommend
is-
it.
Yeah.
My favorite version of Batman for sure.
Oh, it's not my favorite. Oh, that's
Yeah.
I was going a bit far.
I'm not speaking for you, Pete. I'm speaking for myself.
Either way, I'm just glad to see that it's not Tim anymore. They're not messing about with that.
Yeah.
They got Terry there, and they're just going to do what it
Yeah.
should be.
Admittedly, I need to finish the show. I never actually seen the whole show. I've seen a big chunk of it, and I've seen the movie, of course, the Return of the Joker.
Yep.
But yeah, that's something on my to-do list. But no, I'm definitely down for checking this out. Next up, Blue Beetle, written by Keith Giffen and art by Scott Collins, and it will feature Jamie Reyes, who's been mentored by Ted Cord.
That has me
As it
excited.
should be.
That's exactly how you should treat this legacy stuff. And this is one of those books that just shows commitment to this return to legacy, where you wanted legacy, here's both of them in one book.
And I
Yeah,
would say, Jaime Reyes is Giffen's character, right? He created him
I'm not sure.
after. I have to look this
I
up.
could not tell you. It's I've never actually read a solo Blue Beetle book, but I will check.
I read the New 52 one. It was all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't anything special.
I took
either.
I took some chances on the New 52 with some weird titles that I never would have tried before, and I was like, yeah, Hawk and Dove.
This
wasn't
is
that
why
good.
I don't do this.
Yeah.
Hawk and Dove was a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, created by Keith Giffen, John Rogers, and Corey Hamner. So,
Cool. Well, this is him coming back to his own character then, and he gets to do his thing. Last up in terms of titles, we got full information. Well, mostly full information for Teen Titans, which is basically the new team that will be like Damien and all the current, like Wally, I think's in this team from what I could see.
yeah, Wally, Beast Boy for sure. I know that's Beast
Right,
Boy.
okay,
That looks like
cool.
Car. I don't know who the red-haired chick is, but Raven is on the bottom one.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
So,
Love Raven.
So this is basically the younger version of the Teen Titans. So they're actually teens.
It's I think it said Damien wants to be the leader.
That's right. Yeah,
they're all like
that's what
challenging on him.
That's what sold me on this, is that Damien's the one who's like, fuck this, I'm going to have my own team.
They've nailed Damien already. It's like I'm in.
And this is written by Ben Percy, much like Green Arrow, and art by John Boy Myers. So, no, cool.
I just love that where he says he's going to lead the team whether they want him to or not.
It's so good.
That's pretty good. And we've mentioned Super Sons, we mentioned JLA because they mentioned them like, briefly at the end, but didn't give us any information. So the last thing to talk about is the 80-page Rebirth special, which is out at the end of May, and it's written by Johns. It's $2.99.
Massive commitment to this $2.99 thing when even the 80-page thing is.
Yeah, that's them making a statement with that, and so they talked about some good stuff, and they said it's going to tie into I think Titans, and it's going to tie into. There's this hand in the cover, and they showed this double page cover that had Batgirl and Supergirl on it, which I thought was cool, seeing them with the Justice League and sort of featuring them as prominent characters. I thought that was cool.
It's got a lot of people on it.
Where'd it go? Yeah, I'm looking there.
Starfire's on there.
Shazam.
Do you remember seeing Martian Manhunter? Yeah, there he is at the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're touching
Cyborg.
this. Superman's reaching out to this weird hand in the sky, and we don't know who it is, and it's going to.
Well, and it's that famous painting of creation.
Yeah.
What if that's Jeff Johns' hand?
So you go fourth wall,
He goes full Morrison.
It's an amazing cover by Gary.
I'm Jeff Johns, and I am the Anti-Monitor. No, but the main thing they brought up, not so much for this, I think, but for this maybe later on Justice League. But they brought up, if you remember, I think it was issue 42 of Justice League, where Batman sits in the chair, and he asks some questions, and it gets them right, and he says, "What's the Joker's real name?" And we don't get to hear it, but Batman says, "No, that's not possible." And they said tonight that they're going to reveal what that is. And this was the only thing all night, honestly, that made me go, "Oh, wait, no."
Yeah, me too.
But what I'm hoping is that them saying that is just a hook. It's like look, we're going to do something big, we're going to reveal stuff. But I'm hoping that the actual reveal when it happens is ambiguous, or there's a swerve. Or...
It kind of reminds me of Doctor Who a couple of years ago, where they were going to go, "Oh, we're going to tell you the Doctor's real name," and it was like this big thing, and then they swerved and used it as this like metaphorical thing, and it was pretty good in the end because of how they treated it like that. So I'm hoping it's a similar thing where they're kind of doing it as this hook, and then it's going to be a.
Yeah, and the problem is because the way Batman reacted and said, "No, that's not possible," it has to be someone that means something. Like, see if it was like, "What's the Joker's real name?" and then the chair just went,
or it's even the chair doesn't know.
Or even the chair doesn't know. Or if the chair just went, "Oh, it's Mike Smith," and we just be like, "Okay." It means nothing. Like
I just love that the chair doesn't know, and that's why Batman says impossible. You know everything, but that's because the Joker doesn't know who he is. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
to be fair, that could actually be the reveal when you think about it.
Yeah,
that could be the cheeky reveal. Is like the chair's like, I don't know. Like, even the chair doesn't know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool actually.
Yeah, it's that much of a mystery.
Yeah,
even the all-knowing chair does not know.
Yeah.
I've got a question. That's a really big one. You'd have to probably sit and think for a long time to give a proper answer, but just quickly. Is there anyone you could think of, anyone who's possible that could turn out to really be the Joker, that would be anything less, or anything that isn't completely disappointing and awful?
No.
Nah,
no, but... Because it's John's. So I would say if Snyder's handling it, it's like the real Thomas Wayne Jr.
If it's John's, it'll be Joe Chill.
Yeah. God, that's so disappointing. If it's
that makes it circular. Because he created Batman, and then Batman created the Joker.
No, it has to be random. It has to.
No, I know, but that's that's the only other way I can think of it being anything.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not saying I like it. But it's the only way.
No, it can't be the one that killed his parents. If it ends up being someone else who is tangentially related to another character, like I don't know, what if
it's Alfred's son? It's Miles Pennyworth.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. It's a mystery, and we're talking about it, and there's pros and cons on both sides. Personally, that was the worst thing in the Dark Side War issue that came out, because I don't want to know who the Joker is.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, which Johns does those a lot. But it was also to get us talking about the Joker and Batman, because, of course... See, I don't know if Batman would care who the Joker really is, because...
Yeah, it wouldn't really matter.
Joker doesn't care who he is.
Right,
Exactly,
so... Like, he knows that Harvey Dent... Like, Harvey Dent's identity is key to Two-Face, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that's a big deal, but his identity is the Joker is the Joker. So... I don't know.
So, we're not overly feeling the idea that they're actually going to do that, but... I have a feeling there's going to be like a swerve. It's not going to be clear cut as, oh, the Joker's this person, and then that's just it forever. We have to accept the fact that it's, you know, Michael Kent, Clark's cousin from, you know, like, you know, how awful that would be.
Talk about a bloodlust. That's how you...
No, it's Hal Jordan's dad, because his dad actually ejected from the plane before the crash, and then he went psychotic.
Right into the Ace Chemical Company.
Right into the Ace Chemicals. He parachuted out and landed in the Ace Chemicals. Oh my god. That said, though, I mean, one of my favourite things of recent years was the reveal in Flashpoint who the Joker in Flashpoint was. That was handled perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Yep. So, but now. So, I think that wraps us up. We have talked about everything they revealed today.
Yep.
What we're looking forward to, which is most of it, to be fair. It's like, I'd say a good 75% of that's...
I'd say like 95% I'm willing to try.
Yeah, and then like 75 is proper. This is probably going to be good. And I'd say at least half is like, yeah, I'm proper excited for this.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good stuff. We're happy.
Very happy. And I'm excited to be a DC fan again, because it's been a rough go at least the last 2 years, where it's been kind of wonky. Since...
And the start of this weekend did not help.
The movie did not help. But I mean, we have this, and then obviously Monday the Supergirl episode with the Flash on it, and Supergirl's been really good if you like that kind of type of story. Flash has been pretty solid as well for the most part for its 2 years. So I really like those shows. And obviously it's a good time to plug on this channel. This will be on the Meld Fuzz TV channel. Click the links on the screen to go to weekly reviews of those shows. We do them every week, so you can check those out if you're interested. But if not, come back in May. The Sunday after the 80-page issue comes out, and that'll be the first episode of the DC podcast, which we don't have a title for yet, but obviously we may launch.
We will.
And so keep tuned for that. And once the podcast actually starts, we will have audio versions on iTunes, and so on. So thank you very much. I've been Peter. That's been Matt. That's Connor down there.
Up and away.
He's the ginger down the bottom. So thank you very much. This has been the yet to be titled but DC podcast. We'll be joined with another person as well when we start the show. So thanks very much. We will see you in May. Here's hoping for some good DC stories. Goodbye.